Well, hello and welcome back to I Do Canals.
Hiya.
Somebody's here.
I am.
She's got away from the sink. You've been working, haven't you?
I have actually.
But also, what have we been in the last 10 days?
We've had COVID.
We've been sick as dogs. Karen's had it, COVID 5 times. I've had it 4 times. This was the worst, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've never felt so wrung out. Still got a throat, still got bunged.
Yeah, I'm still bunged up.
It's
and I've still
horrible.
got the cough. It's the cough.
So that's why we haven't been on channel, where we haven't been making any videos. Because I think we're 9 or 10 days since our last release, which is,
Yep.
we like to go weekly, and it's been a bit bumpy since the move because everything's been a bit complicated. We've got new jobs, haven't we? And,
We have, yeah.
And a new home, and everything's been a bit kind of tricky, hence Karen's absence. But look, we're back. But we wanted to do a rather different video today, didn't we?
Yeah.
We are waterside. This is Fields Lock on the Lee navigation. See, cough. And so, but we wanted to do something a little different. We have noticed once or twice in the comments, why have you got a Stand Up to Cancer logo there? And we don't shout about it very much, and I think we should start, because there's a real reason why we do that, isn't there?
There is, yes.
And, excuse me, in 2017, September,
Yep.
we took a lovely little pub tenancy down near Eastbourne. And the following second bank holiday May weekend, I had a dodgy foot, could hardly walk, and I was sequestered behind the bar, and all I was doing was pulling pints and pushing us out, while the rest of the team ran like lunatics. It was immensely busy.
It was.
We got to the end of the weekend, and currently, ignore that, Karen said, and I think this was a hint at how much I've been wittering about it. She said, if you do not go to the doctors tomorrow, I shall smother you in your sleep. In the nicest and loving way. So I took the message. I never used to go to the doctors, not ever. And I went down and I had something called plantar fasciitis, something to do with an inflamed muscle lining, and it wasn't as bad as I've heard people can get it. And I was on some medication and it fixed it, sorted. But whilst I was there, I said, what's this Wellman Clinic test that my 2 brothers and I have been chatting about? Oh, and had done nothing about, by the way. And the doctor said, oh, we'll get you booked in. How does Wednesday sound next week? And I said, yeah, okay, fine. Didn't know anything about it. So I went along, and they take your pulse rate and your blood pressure and blood sugar and look in your eyes, look down your, look up. Well, they don't do that. But a bit of everything, and basically it's a bit like an MOT. I was 55, and she said, we'll just take a shot of blood from your arm, and we'll do various other tests from that. I went, yeah, okay. She filled a couple of little bottles up from that, and that was that. And I went back to the pub, and Karen said, how is it? I said, yeah, everything seems all right. I said, cholesterol's a little high but manageable. My body mass index was a little high and manageable, which I think was a polite way of saying I'm fat. And that was that. But a few days later, we get a letter through the door that says, make an urgent appointment with your doctor. So we both went a little bit, didn't we? And
yes.
so, what is it? And when you phone the doctor up and you ask for the appointment and you say, what is it? What is it? They won't tell you. So they won't tell you over the phone. And they made the appointment. And I think I'd phoned them on a Friday. And the earliest they could see me was Monday. And I was bricking it for the whole weekend. So anyway, went in. And they said, suspected prostate cancer. I went, okay. So I got the examination that most blokes worry about. That one. You only ever need worry about that, gentlemen, if doctor has got both hands on your shoulders at the same time. Okay. Otherwise, it's not as bad as it seems, or you've heard.
I shouldn't really laugh, should I?
No, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't laugh.
So anyway, he said, everything seems normal. And I said, that's a matter of opinion. And so he said, look, well, we'll get you off for a couple of scans. And they sent me in for an ultrasound, which was neither here nor there. And then also for an MRI scan, which showed some bulging in the prostate, but was pretty inconclusive. They did another lovely one of those, okay? And we won't talk about that too much. And they said, okay, well, we'll do some biopsies. This is now about 2 weeks
2 or 3
after
weeks
the
in, wasn't it?
initial
Yeah.
scary letter. And it took a week for the MRI, and it took a week to get the results, and then we're a month in, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
And it comes back, and not the MRI, the biopsies. And so we finally get the results of the biopsies. They took 11, and 10 of them were positive. And they also had something called a Gleason Score, which is its speed of growth of the
Yeah.
cancer and aggressiveness of the cancer. And each one is measured 1 to 5, 5 being the worst. I was a 4-4. I had a PSA score initially of 78, and by the time they'd finished all of this lot over about 4.5 weeks, it was 88. And I believe that oncologists get a little concerned if it starts to move over 5 or 6.
I think it's
And
0.6, something
well,
like
that's where it should be as a normal guy with no worries. But it kept going up and up and up. Anyway, so long story short, they whacked me on some horrendous female hormones. I don't know how you women put up with it. Or at least, actually, it does explain a lot. They're on that for a lifetime. Oh, shush, I'm going down the wrong road there.
You
I
are?
won't do that one. So I was on those, and they said, what we're going to do, we're going to shrink your prostate from about this size to about this size. I think they use the walnut to an acorn phrase, kind of comparison. I said, okay. And here's some other medication we're going to put you on as well, because as we shrink it down, it's going to narrow your wee hole, and you might find it difficult to get the loo. So we'll put me on a pill called tamsulosin, which I'm still on today. Every day I take one of them.
You'll be on that for the rest of your life.
We tried coming off it, didn't we? And
We
it
did, yeah.
was a bit dangerous, so we went straight back
Yeah,
on.
Straight back on it.
And so 3 months in, they started my first of 6 lots of chemotherapy.
Yes.
And my first lot, they said, the first one is kind of like a test. And
Docetaxin, is it called? Docetaxin?
I've forgotten what it's called. I'll find it and put it up here in the notes. Hang on, here it is. Docetaxel.
Nearly right.
So there we go. Memory went. And so the first dose, they said, we want to get it dead right, but we might be a little short or we might be a little over. As it turned out, they were 20% over.
They were.
9 days, phew, hair gone. It went. We were sitting in the bar after a Sunday evening, I think, can't remember. And Karen's got a hand on the back of my head like that, and she just, oh, she look at that. She came away with a handful of hair, didn't she? And I looked a bit moth-eaten.
You
I took
did.
a photograph of that. Here it
Yeah.
is. So there's several more photographs, and graphic warning. One of them is a bit so we'll blur out the little bits that you don't want to see. And so chemo was on its way. Literally 9 days after my hair fell out, our eldest daughter got married, didn't she?
She did, yeah.
We had a fantastic wedding day for her, didn't we?
Brilliant.
And I did my speech wearing this hideous monstrosity of a Dolly Parton blonde
You
wig.
looked awful. All you needed was the boobs.
Yeah, woo. And we can still do that. Anyway, different story. So, so I had 5 more lots of chemo, and COVID was bad. It doesn't touch chemo, and it was absolutely diabolical. So we owned a pub tenancy, and we ran a busy pub, and we worked. If we did 60 hours, it was a really quiet week, and usually did a lot more than that. And I went from doing comfortably 60 hours to 5 or 6, didn't I? I just couldn't do it. I had no energy. I was utterly wiped out. And I think my work from then on was just getting the Sunday veg ready and the meats in for a Sunday roast, and doing the weekly pub admin, doing the beer order, doing the accounts. And Karen and our lovely, greatest friend, Dave, the rave chef.
And our son.
And our son cracked on. There's photographs of those 3. And anyway, after the chemo, which was supposed to cover over 6 months, took about 7.5. because I got quite ill in the middle, and they won't give it to you when you're really bad.
No,
and
you
I was,
had some infections.
it was blooming hideous for a while. I then had brachytherapy, and there's a train over here, but we're going to persevere. And this is where the photographs are. So there's these, what you can see now, from here to here, these 20 needles were in, okay? Kind of between bumhole and...
The perineum. I probably pronounced that wrong as well.
Yes, perineum, I think.
That's the
anyway,
one.
so in there. So that was stitched to me, and on the ends of these plastic tubes, these needles, there's like I called it a sort of a high-tech bicycle brake cable that connected to this cylindrical drum that was stood on the floor to my right, the bed I was in. And so a little dog saying hello here. And inside this drum was a flexible wire cable that would shoot a high-dose radioactive tip to the end of each needle. Rest for a few seconds, pull back out, do the next one, out, do the next one. And 20 of them. And the whole procedure took about 19 minutes to do the whole lot. There was a slight funny moment whilst we were getting ready. I'm on the phone to Karen whilst three lady medical persons, oncology ladies, were all connecting all of these up. And they had this chart and they were plotting them in. This is number 20, that goes into there, and all of that. So I took a photograph whilst they were doing it. You can't see anything rude, but I then sent to Karen the message and the photograph. One life wish has been accomplished. 3 ladies between my thighs at the same time. So I did get told off for that later on, didn't I? And but anyway.
Hang on a minute. There is a funny bit though. Before that, when you were getting wheeled back to the room, where you held in some, should I say, some bad flatulence.
I'd forgotten about that. So from getting the needles all inserted under general anaesthetic and spinal block to them connecting the cables up was about 3.5 hours. And I had to wait, laying on my back, knees up, covered over, with this really nice Italian nurse called Enzo, who was brilliant. And he sort of looked after me and brought me cups of tea and sandwiches and things like that. And and he also asked periodically, is there any pain? And the majority of the time there wasn't. And we got towards the end, and the pain suddenly built, and it was absolutely outrageous. And he'd said to me on a 1 to 10, where are we? And I said, I think we're about 6. And I said, okay. And within a minute, we passed 10. 10 was gone, right? And we were heading up to the next 10. And I've never felt any pain like it. Anyway, he gave me a shot of morphine in the mouth orally. And within no time, it was gone, right?
Good stuff.
Pain,
good stuff.
It was gone altogether, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, we get told, right, we're off to the ward the room to go and get all connected up. We're on the way there. And I had a bit of pressure building up, kind of pressure, right?
Yes.
And we're on our way on this trolley down, and I say to this lady who's kind of in charge, I said, look, I've been holding. I've really got to break wind. And she said, oh, just let it go on then. So I went so loud, if there'd been windows, I'd have rattled them. And she goes, oh, well done. So on we went, connected up, cables and everything. So once I'm all connected up, and they shut the doors, and the doors, you can just see one of them in the picture. They're really thick and they're lead lined. They shut all these up, and they said, before they left, they said, we can hear you, we can speak to you, there's microphones and speakers, and we can do all of that. So if you've got anything, just shout out. I said, great. So I'm FaceTiming Karen, and I said, here, have a look. Reached down like that, put the phone down here, and this voice booms over the speaker. Take your hand away from the radioactive source. Went, oh, bloody hell.
I never saw anything.
So she never got to see it. So they do all of that, done and dusted. And about 6 weeks later, I had 26 rounds of radiotherapy. Mm. And so I was really mangled by the time I've had all of this done. And it was a good 3 years, really, before I was back to what I'd consider normal. I think I was operational in the pub, about a month and a half, but still not able to do a full day, not for a long time, was it?
You couldn't do a full day for a while.
I was several months away. But to cut to the chase, I am literally about 3 weeks over 4 years clear of cancer.
And you're alive.
And I'm alive. So the treatment, whilst horrendous, was absolutely needed. And whilst I wouldn't wish it on anybody, if you've got to do it, you've got to do it. You've got to have it, right? We want to do the most that we can, especially once we finally get afloat ourselves, and raise as much as we possibly can for Stand Up to Cancer.
Yeah.
Which is the same as Cancer Research UK. And so we are greatly indebted to our British national health system, aren't we? I mean, they've saved your life at least once, they've saved mine twice. And one was I nearly killed myself with welding fumes many years ago, completely different story, which we won't dwell on today.
Mine was after having our last child.
It was. Karen got horrendously poisoned with germs and stuff, and so we've been through it. But we're here. We love narrowboating. We love the canals and the navigable waterways and the navigations like this one. And we want to be living aboard one now. Another train going over there. We want to be living aboard, don't we?
Yeah.
And living the life on a narrowboat. We want to see the whole of the network. We've got an Instagram channel, I Do Canals. We've got a Twitter, which we don't use very much yet. We've got a Facebook, which we're using a bit more. We've a website, idocanals.co.uk. There's an interactive map of every waterway that you can take a boat down in England and nearly all of Wales, and we haven't touched Scotland yet. And it shows all of the locks and places of interest. You can pop pubs up and where you empty your toilet and waste points and mooring and all of that. There's loads more to come. We will be back to normal videos any day soon.
Yep.
We'd like to say a hello to, we've just had some Instagrammers on their boat, and it's Boaty Me UK. Here's their address and a photograph I took of them. They were just here, and we'd been chatting a while. I helped open the gates and such, and we've been chatting whilst we were waiting for the lock to fill. And they went, oh, I know that Instagram address. I think you follow me, and I think I follow you. And we had a quick look. Yeah, we do. Boom, there we go. So it's so hi guys, nice to see you, and we hope you had a great cruise today. They were cruising with another boat as well. They went that away, which is towards London, and that I think more or less concludes our video, doesn't it?
It does.
And we'll do one of these, I think, now and again.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's been, what, 4 videos?
Where are we going next?
I've lost all track of time where we're going, Simon, to be honest with you.
I've been talking to a local museum on the banks of the Lee Navigation, and I'm waiting on confirmation of when I can go and do some videoing there. It's really interesting, fascinating stuff. Massively important historical place on this waterway, but also for lots and lots of other reasons for Britain. More on that later.
Yep.
And here's the thing, gentlemen, all right, there's a little message to you guys out there. From about 45 or older, okay, go and get a PSA score done. It's a blood test, okay, prostate specific antigen, okay. At 45, it's quite early, but get it tested. From about 50 on, that's when you're most likely to suffer from prostate cancer. And the vast majority of men who get it live the rest of their lives without even having known about it or it ever being a serious problem. But a smaller percentage like me have it, and if I hadn't had my treatment, I'd probably be not here today. So the symptoms are, you go to the loo a lot at night, you don't wee a great deal when you do go, and sometimes blood in it and various others. I didn't have any symptoms at all, and I went to the doctors for something else. And this is why I say, go and get a PSA score done, get yourselves checked out. You don't need to get that one if your PSA score comes back a bit iffy. So that's later, and trust me, that is worth it, not like that way, to save your life, all right?
But also, can I echo, ladies, go and get your smear test done, and if you are offered a mammogram, please do it as well. I've had both. I don't particularly like them, but I will go.
Whilst I was on the lady hormones, I was nearly big enough for a mammogram, wasn't I? They've gone down a bit now. I'm working on this. This is slowly going. This is why I've got this horrendous.
But cancer runs both sides of our family.
Lots of it. I don't think there are many families in the UK not touched by cancer, are
No.
there? It's hideous. It's horrendous. It's there. The battle against it is getting better and stronger. The medicines against it are getting better and stronger. But don't wait. Don't wait. Go and get checked out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.